Like we always do at this time, I go for mine, I get to shine. Now throw your hands up in the sky. I go for mine, I get to shine. Now throw your hands up.
So welcome again to another This Week in Startups, a podcast, a vlog, a live video show about entrepreneurship. Why are we doing the show? Because it's fun. Why would you do anything on the interwebs? You do it because you're passionate about it and you have a good time. So I'm passionate about entrepreneurship. I know you guys are too. There's 200 of you hanging out in the chat room for an hour before the show. I'm sure we'll wind up with a couple hundred people in there. And wow, we had a great first show with Brian Alvey of CrowdFusion. Got amazing feedback on him. Got amazing feedback on Rich, who did the news. Everybody likes Rich DeMuro, it seems. Right off the bat, we're going to do a couple of segments on today's show, in addition to a wonderful interview with Seth Sternberg, who is the CEO and I believe founder of Meebo. But before we do that, a couple of housekeeping items. The hashtag for This Week in Tech. No, wait. This Week in Tech is Leo's show. This is This Week in Startups. Our hashtag is pound, TWiST, TWiST, This Week in Startups. Just adding that little T at the end to make it sound good, because twist sounds weird, twist sounds cool. So everybody right now, I want you to just go on Twitter. Let's see how many of you guys have a Twitter account, and just say on Twitter, I'm watching This Week in Startups, www.thisweekinstartups.com. Join us, pound twist. And so we can pull up my my little Twitter search here, and we'll see that some people are watching the show. So here we go. And as you guys submit questions, as you guys interact with the show, I'm going to bring this up, and I'm going to give you a shout out. So thanks to Info Seminole for watching the show. E. Dorsey says he loves the 50 Cent. Dale Dietrich, oh, he was here. Dietrich was here last week. And then look at that. Boom. Let's go cut back to my laptop. And you'll see 8 more results. Boom. A lot of people watching the show. Michael Rowe 01, R. Safer, Blackie Sky, Jay Mondo, Jay Gorel. There's a lot of you watching this week in startups. Thank you to our sponsors. How cool is that? We started a show and we have sponsors the first week. Whoa, 17 more people. Jesus, there's a lot of you watching. Kevin Dallas, cannot wait to learn more about Meebo. Great service. John Saunter, he's watching. John Ryan. Lao Jab is watching. Brian Allen, us. Praise Cheeses. Praise Cheeses. Hallelujah, Praise Cheeses is watching. Lots of great people watching. I don't know a lot of you guys, but I'm going to get to know you. You guys are part of the inner circle now. What a flawless first show, I have to say. Technically flawless. Everything went perfectly. Very happy with the team and the great job they're doing. Yes, and our sponsors. Of course, you know that DNA Mail, DNAmail.com is a sponsor of the show. And if you're doing hosting of your Exchange host, or you're doing Google app like we do, you want to use these guys. They're going to make your life really easy. Go check them out. I have them up on the screen right now. DNA Mail, DNAmail.com. We love you for sponsoring the show and supporting entrepreneurs. Everybody should write a tweet thanking DNAmail.com. Pound twist at the end. If they see 10 or 20 of those like you guys did last time, that probably pays for the sponsorship right there. And Ustream.tv. Very cool service. We use them for the TechCrunch 50 conference, and they've been flawless and great at doing streaming video. And you're hearing a little dit-dit-dit-dit, and what that means is it's time for Ask Jason, which is a new segment. We need a little theme song in here, huh, Tyler?
Mm-hmm. It's coming.
It's coming? We'll have a little Ask Jason theme song? It's going to be like the... we have a couple of theme songs today, or no?
You're looking at me like I'm going to hum something?
Yeah, you're supposed to start humming something. Ask Jason.
If I could do beatbox,
that would be fun. All right, so I just hit the button here, hit the old button, and our caller is Bodie Grimm. And this is just so you guys know, people email me every day, like dozens of people. Hey, what do you think of this idea? What do you think of that idea? I try to get back to as many as you can. Usually on my BlackBerry, like right before I go to bed, or when I wake up in the morning, or when I'm driving. No, I don't do it when I'm driving, but just trying to give you guys some feedback, because I love that you guys take the time to ask me a question. That's if I know what I'm doing. But let's see what Bodie Grimm's question is. Bodie.
Yes, sir.
You're here.
I am here.
Well, thanks for being on This Week in Startups. Thanks for agreeing to talk about your startup company. Can we hear him okay? The fidelity's good coming from the speakerphone? We're good. Okay, awesome. And the audience can hear him. Bodhi, you emailed me this week. You're a firefighter, which is awesome. My brother's a firefighter in New York. Where are you a firefighter?
I'm a firefighter in Arizona in a town that borders Phoenix.
Are you a volunteer firefighter, or is this your full-time gig?
No, it's my full-time gig.
So you're a paid firefighter, which is awesome as a job. I mean, except for the part about running into the burning buildings.
That's the best part.
Yeah, that is. You know, you sound like my brother. Every time I talk to my brother, he's like, "Yeah, we had this great one, and I went in through the window," and I'm just like, "Okay." But you get to work like 2 days a week, right? Because you do 24-hour shifts or 18-hour shifts.
Yeah, it works out to like 9 or 10 days a month.
Right, which means you have the other 20 days a month to hang out with your family, I hope, and actually work and do a second gig, which a lot of firefighters do. Tell me about your idea.
All right. If it's okay, I'm not going to go into too many specifics because we're really in early alpha. But
okay.
Basically what we're trying to do is like social networking light and kind of make it fun all at the same time. Just take what we feel are the best part of social networking sites like Dig and Twitter and things like that,
right,
and make it easy for people. In this case, we're doing like an iPhone app. So we're going to take all those things that we think are the best features, and we're going to package those into an easy-to-use iPhone app.
Right. So social networking for the iPhone, this is a good idea, right? You're taking two trends, which are very powerful. The iPhone is a huge trend, and so is the social networking thing. And in Japan, as a matter of fact, most people do their social networking on their phones. So how is this different than me just using the MySpace application or the Facebook application? What's the or the Dig application? All these guys have iPhone apps and/or iPhone-enabled websites. What's going to be different here? Is this for sharing links? Is it for doing email? Is it for instant messaging? What is a social activity?
Well, what we're really trying to promote above anything is citizen journalism. So if you're sitting at a bar in L.A. and you see Britney Spears changing her kid's diaper, which is probably maybe too old for that now, but on the table you can type that into the application we have. You can tag it under a different category, and then it goes out, and people who are looking for items under that category, they'll see it. But here's the thing, is if you write something totally stupid, it's totally user-based. It will die. It won't go to more than 10 iPhones. Right. If it's awesome, through voting, people are going to vote for it, and it'll move to more and more and more iPhones. Right,
so the good stuff gets surfaced, and the bad stuff, by voting, I guess, goes down. And you want to do this for local news. So now you've added another sort of theme to this, which is local news, which is, by the way, the local business, most difficult business, one of the most difficult businesses online from a revenue perspective, and we haven't gotten to that part. So what exactly is your question about this? Because there is something here. You've hit some good themes. What's the question?
Okay, so the first question is, it's myself and a buddy of mine who works for a company, and I can't mention his name, but every time I mention a new feature to him, even if it's on the phone, I can hear his eyes rolling in his head and his stomach just growling, because it takes about 3 weeks for every new feature I ask him to put in there.
Right.
So in order to save this guy, because I don't do any programming, what are the must-have social networking features that should be in a social networking app at launch to keep people from coming back to the application? Yeah.
So one of the things so that you have the typical dynamic between a startup sort of founder and their technology partner, which is you want to do every feature, your partner can't do every feature, and there's got to be some balance of prioritization, et cetera. And so what I think you have to do is look at how many resources you have. You're funding this yourself, obviously, and you want to get to launch. You need to take the big vision and figure out how to get to the big vision. I'm assuming that you're not independently wealthy and can burn through millions of dollars a year, and you don't have $10 million in venture capital sitting in a bank account.
Oh, man, yeah. That's
so you're going to have to do this like a pure startup. So in that case, what I suggest is trying to maybe take that huge vision you have of like everybody having this application or 10% of users having this application, and people are trying to do it in every market, and you've got information from Arizona and New York and LA. Maybe try to bring it down and make this citizen journalism site for one local town. And this is something I don't think anybody's ever done. But if there was an iPhone application that was my neighborhood, Like, here is the iPhone application for Brentwood or Santa Monica or Phoenix, and then a bunch of people sharing notes on the best of what's going on in that town and voting it up and down. That could be compelling. And you can sort of bring it down by location, right? And you could also narrow it down maybe by a demographic, adults, kids, whatever, or even a function. So it's always good when you're trying to build one of these companies, I think, to maybe start smaller. You have the big vision, but start a little smaller. So maybe you could do just, I don't know, Phoenix, and maybe just bars in Phoenix, you know, or just things that nightlife that's going on there. Find a data feed of those things and have people vote that up and down, and then add news stories, etc. So that would probably be the best thing. In terms of social networking, obviously you have a whole bunch of features like comments and following people and sharing and voting things up and down. So I think you know what they are.
Right.
But I think start small and make it work, and then you'll have some credibility, perhaps even a revenue stream or a sponsor, a user base, and then you can go bigger. Any other questions about the project?
Really, I kind of have one general question that
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily have to do with this project, but I think it's a good question for most people watching the show.
Yeah.
At what stage of development what stage of a project is it the best time to approach like a venture capital firm? And then once you do, what are they looking from you?
That is a great question. When to approach a VC firm? This depends on your track record. You've never raised venture capital, right?
No.
Okay, so that means you're in the bucket of people that they're going to look at and say, these are people who've never had a successful exit or raised venture capital, which means they're going to look at you sort of at the bottom of their list. So then how do you build credibility with them? You know, if you've done 2 or 3 companies, when I was on my 3rd company, it was very easy to raise venture capital. When I was on my 2nd company, I could get the meetings, but it wasn't easy. On the 1st company, it was sort of out of the question. You can, when you're starting off, if you have performance, if you have 10,000 people using it, 50,000 people using it, if you have some potential and they can see that and you've built it, they're going to respect it. You walking in with just a business plan, they're just not going to do it, period. So I wouldn't even waste your time. You got to build something and come to them with some performance. Once they see the performance, then they're going to look at, do you have domain expertise in this, and how big is the market? So they tend to make their decisions, VCs, based on the market, and they make their decisions based on the management team. Here, they don't have a lot to go on the management team because you haven't done something. Therefore, they're going to look at the market and the performance. So you have one lever to work, and that's your performance, what you've actually done. You got to work that hard. You got to come to them with a lot of success. And the other option is you could find somebody who's raised venture capital and had a big exit. So there's a lot of entrepreneurs in Arizona. Find one of them and bring them on the team. So then when you go to them, they say, oh yeah, and here's this guy who worked for Google or worked at Yahoo or worked at Meebo or worked at Dig. So now you've built a little credibility with them. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So good luck with the application. Have fun with it. Don't spend too much money, right? Control costs. And release it. That's the most important thing. Get it in the hands of users because that's when you're going to start learning, right?
Yes.
You learned a lot in the academy, I take it?
Oh, yeah, tons.
And how much did you learn on your first fire?
Yeah, it's a night and day.
Exactly. So you got to, the equivalent here is, after you learn more in your first fire than you probably do in the academy, I think, because then it's real. I know when I worked on an ambulance, like the first call was a guy who got stabbed in the chest. I learned a lot more on that first call than I did in the classes to become an EMT. So
absolutely.
And it's super cool. I think it's great for you to be doing the fireman thing and then using that stability to then build a company on. I always did that because I was broke. I used to fix laser printers and then build my startups at night. So awesome questions and good luck with it and keep us in the loop on how you do. Okay.
Thanks, buddy.
Take care, buddy.
Appreciate it.
Good luck. Be safe.
Oh, thank you. Bye-bye.
Always safe. That segment went well, I think. What do you think, Tyler? Good segment?
Loved it.
Tyler loved it. And what did you guys think of the Ask Jason segment? Of course, go right into TWiST. Go into your Twitter, do a #TWiST, and tell me what did you think of the segment. Little AC in here, perhaps, Tyler? Possible? I think it's about 87 degrees in the... wow, 387 of you are watching. That's fantastic. And a lot of you are tweeting. I wonder if all 387 of you told people to watch TWiST if people would tune in. Wow, people are starting to. Awesome show. Thank you, Eden Yeager. So now on to our guest. I sent some of you guys who are on my email list some statistics. Seth Sternberg is the CEO and founder. Co-founder. Got to be very specific about founder, co-founder. It's a very important detail. People, and especially when you're the CEO, because that gives you a little bump. You got to make sure you give respect to the co-founders. Meebo, 36 million global uniques on Quantcast, quantified a real number. It's not talking about an Alexa number because that's not real. It can be gamed in 10 seconds. Not talking about compete, not a real number, sample based. Certainly not talking about Nielsen ComScore nonsense, because that's just totally sample based, and I hate that nonsense. Real entrepreneurs put their stuff on Quantcast. They're not a sponsor. They should be, actually. Quantcast, I mention you every show. You should sponsor. There's one sponsorship slot left. On Quantcast, 36 million uniques, 10 million more than Dig, double what Twitter is. Please welcome to the program, Seth Sternberg, CEO and co-founder of Meebo.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. I'm so glad that you're the second guest. Huge fan of what you're doing. Tremendously successful. How long have you been doing this?
So Elaine, Sandy, and I started Meebo. Well, we started working on startup projects in 03.
03.
We didn't
Perfect
launch,
timing.
Yeah, perfect timing. It was awesome.
Bottom of the market.
Yep. Didn't launch anything until September of 05, and that's when we launched Meebo as people know it today. We had a couple other ideas we worked on for a little while, but never even launched them.
And what was the genesis of the idea?
So,
was there a pain point? Were you frustrated? All ideas have some origin. What was the origin of Meebo? And what is Meebo?
Yep. So
we haven't even said that yet.
Yeah, sure. So that's easy segue. The goal of Meebo is to just do real-time communication on the web, right? Just simple. If it's live chat, we want to power it on the web. The way we got here is we were always working in Elaine's or Sandy's apartments on our other ideas. And we could never get on our IM clients in each other's apartments because it was all in software, kind of like Outlook had email and software.
Right.
So the first idea for Meebo was just, hey, let's just do what Hotmail did for email, we want to do for instant messaging. Just simple, right?
Put it in the cloud.
Yeah, put it in the cloud. Just no download software. Just go to a website.
Because that's a pain in the ass. You got to
It's a pain.
upload
Yeah,
your.
downloading
I mean,
is a pain.
I don't mean to beat up on AOL, but AOL, I've been using. I have a Mac, and I don't think that you guys have upgraded the Mac client in 12 years. I mean, how old is the Mac client for?
I don't use it.
I mean,
use Meebo.
It's a disaster. I mean, AOL, really, there are Mac users out there who still have AIM accounts. Please stop punishing them. So you decide no more downloads.
So we
no
decided
software.
No more downloads. Everything was in the web at that point, right? Social networking was taking off. There's Salesforce.com, Gmail. So why was IM really not there yet?
Makes no sense.
What was interesting though is we kind of had this almost inferiority complex when we launched. We were very worried we'd get no users. And so we built a couple of systems into the product to really listen to users and to talk to users. And what we heard back almost immediately, right? We didn't raise, just like you told the last caller, we didn't raise any venture capital money. We couldn't. We'd never done a startup before.
Right.
And so everybody starts writing in. They're like, hey, can we get Meebo in our websites? And we're like, wait a second. That's weird because we're a website and you're a website and they don't tend to merge.
Right.
Weird. And there were no widgets in 05.
These are the days before affiliation of sites.
Yep, there's no widgets.
Every site is an island.
Exactly. Every
then
site's an
YouTube
island.
comes and everybody
YouTube, exactly.
is syndicating stuff.
Exactly. And so we called folks up and we said, hey, what do you mean by this? They said, well, I basically use Google in my site to power search. Right?
Google syndicated search.
It's Google syndicated search.
Right.
I want to use Meebo in my site to power chat. And it was that simple. And we're like, okay, that's really interesting. So now we have we have the technology, right? So we just have to figure out how to put that technology in other people's sites in kind of a way that makes sense for the site, how to monetize it, right? How to make it attractive from a business perspective, and go. And so that's what we concentrate on. So we've got Meebo.com where people can come to chat with their friends across any network.
Right.
And then we have the syndicated part of Meebo where websites use us to power live communication.
And so here we are on the Meebo site, just to switch to the old laptop. And I'm logged in as, I guess, your demo user.
Yep.
And essentially, here I am. I got my AIM and my Yahoo all logged in. And this looks exactly like Yahoo right here.
Yep, it's just
on the right.
It's all. This is all object-oriented JavaScript that we're looking at here. So it behaves like software.
Like I'm dragging it around as an example.
All in the web, exactly. So this is all in the web browser.
Right. And doesn't this also help the fact that if I'm in a university or I'm on a public terminal, I can't download software?
Oh yeah, the use cases are amazing. We get, university students are huge.
Right. Because they're being blocked by proxies or something?
The university doesn't want them to download software and put it on a random machine.
Right, okay, understandable.
Or at work, right?
Or at work is a proxy issue.
A big user base, interestingly, two interesting ones. One is soldiers in Iraq. They have bandwidth restrictions. And so they can't download and install software, but they can get to Meebo. So we get emails from them all the time.
Thank you for making a lightweight way.
You let me communicate with my family. And interestingly, through a couple of our syndicated businesses, librarians. I have to thank librarians because they use Meebo all the time.
They tell people, when people say, like, I want to use instant message at the library, they say, use Meebo.
They also take Meebo and they put it on every computer throughout the library. There's a little Meebo box, and the patrons of the library can IM with the librarian at the desk and ask reference questions.
Great.
Yep.
Makes total sense. But how much of the audience do you think for the product is trying to get around a proxy issue? Because that's a major pain point on the web.
Yeah, what's interesting is when we run user surveys, and if you look at the Quantcast data, it shows, Quantcast shows 70% home use.
Well, that's interesting, because they don't have a proxy issue.
Exactly, and our user surveys also show very high home use, between 60 and 70%. And so we think what's happening there is users will find Meebo at school,
when they have a proxy issue or a download issue.
Yep, and their friend says, hey, get on this Meebo thing, it'll get you on IM. And then we have their chat logs. They can personalize Meebo with background screens and buddy icons, and then they take it home.
Got it.
Yeah.
And so looking here, I got the Quantcast pulled up here. I mean, this is extraordinary numbers. 36.9 million global people and 13 million in the United States. So 2/3 of your traffic almost coming from outside the United States.
Yep.
What's that about?
I think if you look at most kind of websites that are mainstream, right? There are a couple of ways to figure out, like, is a website mainstream. One of my favorite ones, frankly, is to look at the breakdown of the different web browsers that use a website. If it's mostly Internet Explorer, it's a pretty mainstream website, right? And so another one
if it's Firefox, it's Engadget or Dig or Slashdot or whatever. It's some cutting edge thing.
Yes.
Got it.
And so on a lot of mainstream social sites, you'll find that about a third or a little more, between a third and 40% of the site's traffic comes from America. And then the rest tends to come from Western Europe, Brazil's big, India's big, Australia, Canada, etc.
And this is also, I guess, if you have an older machine, you've got a Windows 95 machine, the clients are now getting so fat and memory hog and disk space. That's an issue too, I guess.
Yeah, it is and isn't. When you do a kind of rich website like Meebo, it can the old machines can have trouble. Exactly.
The gains are wiped out. So you start the company with your friends.
Yep.
Were you guys out of work at the time, or were you laid off, or you had day jobs? What were you doing before this?
Yeah, so I was oddly, I loved the job, but I was in IBM in their corporate development group doing M&A deals.
Really?
And then I.
Would you go to business school before that?
And then I went to business school.
Stanford.
And so Stanford. Yep. So we started working on Meebo a little bit before I quit IBM. All through my first year at Stanford. We launched it in between my first and second year during that summer. I made it 4 weeks into second year, but ended up dropping out. Elaine and Sandy they'd gone to Stanford undergrad. We'd met through friends of friends. They'd worked for a couple of years, and we're working on Meebo. We did Wednesday nights and all day Sundays were our times to get together. And so they ended up leaving their jobs right before we launched.
Were they at a web shop or another company? Or
Elaine was working at Synaptics, and Sandy was working at Xilinx.
Okay.
And so it was both of them were in the technical field.
Yeah. So you're the business head, and they were the developers.
Exactly. And
just like our caller.
Yeah, just like our caller. And a lot of people always ask me, "What did you do before you launched Meebo?" Yeah. And I was like, my answer is, "Oh, that button could have looked a little better over there." Right? Like your role pre-launch as the business guy is not substantial. Right. That's when it's all Elaine and Sandy.
So at what point do you guys go, you know what? Time to leave the other jobs. Time to quit school.
Yeah. For us, for Elaine and Sandy, it was, hey, we're about to launch. We love the product. Like, we'd worked on 2 products previously that we never even launched because we just weren't passionate about them. We didn't think we hit it. And so we killed the products pre-launch. But with Meebo, as we were writing it and using it, we loved the product. We loved using it. And so it made everybody very passionate about it.
Right.
I had a little more flexibility because I was in school. So my point when I decided to drop out, a couple of things happened. Probably the biggest one is I got an email in the middle of finance class, and it was Layden and Sandy, and they're like, our servers are about to crash. You got to order new servers, like, right now. And so I'm like in the back of class emailing the server guys.
Yeah.
As we did outsource servers, I'm like, I need more servers right now. And then the finance professor saw me doing that, and of course called on me immediately, and I had not done the homework, of course, and I was like, okay, this is getting a little embarrassing.
Perfect.
So that was the decision-making point for me.
All right. And how are we doing? Little hum on the sound. Are we okay with the audible?
It's the air conditioner.
Unwatchable with the audio. Really, my audio is perfect. So, how are we doing out there, guys? Just want to make sure the audio is okay. Good here. No fix it, please. It's mixed. Big buzz. Is it really the AC? Let's turn the AC off if that's the problem. AC's off now. Is the buzz gone? Yeah. Oh, do you have a BlackBerry? That shouldn't.
It's off.
It's off, right? Everything's off. Audio's fine. More chat room polls. Still buzzing. Zzz.
It'll take a 3-second.
Oh, 3-second delay. Okay. So people are saying the audio was perfect from the beginning. Okay, that's just a little tech check. If there's a problem, always say it on TWiST. Let us know. We'll pound TWiST and we'll fix it real quick. So that was the moment when the servers are the indicator.
Yep, the servers are where the indicator.
That's always that's an interesting thing. You know, when you have to come out of pocket and you got to get that credit card out. I always find that's like an early warning system that you're onto something good.
Yep.
And so you need to get more servers. Some red light goes off in your head, like we need to really expand the server infrastructure. Mm-hmm. I might need to get money for this company, or it might be a real company.
Yep, it was, at first it was, oh man, we can't keep paying for these servers because we're doing it on our credit card and each server
costs
$100. What was the bill every month? Oh, it was
$5,000?
No, it was, we had to get up to 10 servers, so it's $1,000 a month, and for us that was expensive.
10 large.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot.
That's a lot of money. It's $120,000 a year. You're in school.
Yeah.
You're already blowing out $50,000 a year in school.
Yeah, it was, $1,000 a month for all, because it was only $100 a month a server, so $1,000 a month, 10 a year.
$1,000 a year. Okay,
yeah,
that's not a big deal.
But for us, I was in school.
Yeah, it's the bills coming in, it's getting annoying. Something has to go either way.
Yeah.
Either this becomes a business, or we turn off the service, or we start charging the users.
Yep. And so we just raised an angel round, just $100,000.
And how'd you go about doing that?
So, right when Meebo launched, people noticed it. Like, the charts were growing. They could see it in Alexa.
Right.
And so Elaine and Sandy, this is interesting. Elaine and Sandy just stayed in the office working on Meebo, or the office being the apartment.
Right. Got it.
Working on Meebo. And I'd go out and take meetings with angel investors who we were getting introduced to, or VCs. It's kind of, like if Elaine and Sandy had come, right, Meebo would start falling over because they weren't working on it. I think a mistake.
So this is where the business guy comes in handy.
Exactly. Right. Exactly.
So a little division of responsibility.
Exactly. Yep. Trust each other, right, as team members. So I did those meetings, and then we did that 100,000. Then 2 months later,
who were the angel investors?
John Callahan and Phil Black came in as the first. So they just formed True Ventures.
Sure.
Yes, this is after they did the investment in Meebo, but they were forming True at the time. So they were really interested in coming in. I'd known John from before.
Right. So you come from an M&A background. You're at Stanford. You're plugged in.
I'm a little bit.
Right. Well, this is a good lesson for you guys. I have to say, geography matters. And if you're a first-time entrepreneur like our friend from Arizona, Arizona's got a community this big. When you're in the valley, I mean, you're in the coffee shop, somebody's going to throw angel investing. An angel investment out
in the valley.
It's much easier.
Yep.
If you're a young guy, gal, and you want to do this, the valley's going to make it 1,000 times easier. I'm not stumping for the valley, but it just is a matter of
the valley is a much easier place to
and
launch
so
stuff.
How do you negotiate that? You just say, hey, we need 100.
It's really simple.
We'll give you 10% or something?
No, we said, we need 100.
Convertible?
Yeah.
Nice. For those of you who don't know what a convertible is, explain to the audience what a convertible note is.
There's a big question entrepreneurs ask me a lot. Do I do convertible debt or do I do equity as my angel round? And the answer for entrepreneurs is always convertible debt for the most part.
And convertible debt is what?
It just means that someone's giving you debt, and so
a loan.
A loan.
Here's 100,000. You owe it back.
And then when you do your Series A, it will convert into equity at the Series A. But you do something in there
at the valuation of the Series A.
Yeah, or you can do something in there to make it a little bit better for the angels who took a little more risk.
1.5 times.
You could do something like that. You could just do warrant coverage, right? You could do just a discount today, a 30% discount.
Right.
So you could do any of that.
Right. So basically, what happens there is the angel investors put the money in, and they say, "There's a loan. You pay us back this amount of interest." And if you do a Series A, the money comes back, and you get an extra.
You get some extra discount or whatnot.
Now, where this gets dangerous is what I believe Technorati did, which was they priced their A so high that the angel investors were a little upset.
Yeah. I don't know about Technorati.
Right. This is what I heard, so I don't know if it's about Technorati.
Told entrepreneurs they can do about that if their angels are concerned about it is you can cap it.
Cap it. Oh, right? So you do that.
You could just say, hey, whether or not we did, you can just say, hey,
10 million
the cap is right, 10, 6, whatever, right? And then that makes your angel investors comfortable.
Yeah.
Yep.
So big lesson you guys all learned today: convertible.
Convertible debt.
Much better for the entrepreneur.
Better for the entrepreneur. Don't do all the work to try to figure it out. Now you know.
In a market like this, you may not get that. People are going to be a little risk averse. So, as an entrepreneur, getting the money in the bank is probably the most important thing.
Money in the bank's good.
And if you have to not do a convertible, or you don't have the leverage to because you're early, or you don't have the performance, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. But it is nice if you can get the convertible situation going. You get that going. So you have $100,000.
$100,000. We're not paying ourselves anything out of that, right? That was purely pay for servers.
Pay for servers.
Right? 2 months later, Sandy was spending all of her time keeping servers alive and not coding new features because I think we're up to 40 or something like that, 30. I don't know.
Now you need a server admin.
Now we need ops.
You need ops.
Right, we need ops.
This is how it goes.
Yes.
First you need the new servers.
And then you need people.
Then somebody wants your credit card bill. Then you need people.
Yep. And so, we're like, okay, well, to hire anyone, we're going to need real money, like a few $1 million.
Right.
I'd been meeting with venture capitalists, and so we went to just a few venture capitalists and, talked to them and, hey, here's what we're up to, and ended up raising money from Sequoia in our Series A from Roloff over there, and have been very happy ever since.
So there you go. How many VCs did you meet with?
Oh, well, when I was just kind of meeting people pre us raising around, I'm sure I met with 30.
So very similar. In fact, the number you just said, 30, was the exact number that Brian Alvey said last week.
Interesting.
On when he raised money for CrowdFusion. I think he said 25, 30.
Yep.
So it seems to be something about that number.
Yeah, it's natural, but there was no pitch deck in that, right?
Right.
That
you
was
just
literally, like, hi.
Here's what we're doing.
Right. Then when we decided we really wanted to raise the money, we only went to 8. Right, we went to the 8 that we liked, and we said, hey, we will come in with a pitch deck. We need to raise money now. We really liked you as people when we met you.
How did you pick the 8?
So we had kind of 4 criteria for raising the Series A. One was just we had these terms and conditions that we wanted to hit, right? But other than that,
that's valuation, liquidation preference.
Exactly, liquidation, participating, non-participating, all that stuff. So that was just like meet bar, fine, great, over, okay? The 3 things that really mattered, though, to us were, did we like these people as, like, people? Did we want to work with them for 7 years on average, right? Did we agree with them on the vision for the company long term? Because if they wanted to be an enterprise software company and we wanted to be consumer internet, that would make for bad board meetings, right?
Yeah.
Very
basically, you try and take the ship to 2 different countries at the same time. You're going to rip the ship in half.
Rip it apart. Exactly.
Yeah. Not good.
And then the third thing was just, did we agree on how to build the business? Right, if you have the same vision, but you have a very different point of view, exactly, tactical. This one VC firm that we met with that will remain nameless.
Spend $1 million a month. Go quick.
They were more of those. You guys are young founders. You should really bring in some experienced, expensive in all ways hands right away to kind of take over the ship for you. And we weren't so into that.
You're incompetent, and all the success to date of the company means nothing because clearly, starting tomorrow, when we put our money in, you need experienced hands. You've lost all competence.
Right.
Just note to VCs watching, I know there's some of you out there, it's really insulting. Is this, am I supposed to say? It's really fracking. Can we edit that? Because I don't want to get that iTunes thing. I don't also want to have a reputation for cursing. My mom is going to kill me. Don't fracking say that. It really pisses off entrepreneurs. You can think it, but don't you say it. Wait till the performance is down and then do it. I never understand that. Like, until your performance sucks, who are they to tell you that you're incompetent? Yeah, because the whole thing up to this point is you.
Yeah, I think.
I don't know. How do you feel about that?
I think you hope that since founders have big equity portions, they should be motivated to step down when they realize their performance is lacking, right? And there may come a time when Meebo outscales me. Right. And you have to kind of have some kind of an alarm system that says it's time to go or not based on your performance. And
but you don't believe that.
Well, right now I think that Meebo
you don't believe that ever.
Me.
Be honest.
No, that's absolutely
you
possible.
You think there's a time when you should leave?
Future.
You should get really.
It's possible.
36 million people you got it to. You think that somebody else is going to get it to 70?
Well, so far it's been going well.
Who's the best person to get it to 70? You or somebody else?
I hope it's me, but me along with the rest of the team, right?
Right, of course. I know that, but as the captain, you're on the steering wheel. You can't. I don't see how entrepreneurs are like, I've gotten it to 36 million people or whatever. I need to give this steering wheel to somebody else. I mean, some people don't like the job. But you're the business guy.
Yep.
I mean, it's not like Kevin Rose is like, I'm a product guy. I don't want to do that.
Yep.
Or Mark Andreessen saying, I've been there, done that. I don't want to do it.
Yep.
You're a business guy. You want to do it. You love it.
I love every day at Meebo. I absolutely love every day at Meebo. But I think also a little healthy dose of some self-skepticism, right? Just looking at yourself and how are you doing? How have I done? And making sure you're living up to that.
That's good,
I do think is important.
Yeah. How do you get that? The board?
No, it doesn't come from the board. What we do with the board, at the beginning of every board meeting, we have lowlights and highlights. Like, we're right up front. Here's the stuff that's not going well.
We suck.
Yep.
We rock.
And here's the stuff that's awesome. Every board meeting. So we just get that out of the way. You never want to hide anything from the board.
No.
It's terrible. And the board wants to know that you are just, looking at your problems head on, you're acknowledging them, and you're dealing with them. I don't know where self-skepticism comes from, but you just have to every so often step back and say, hey, am I doing a good job? And you'll hear other people will give you signs if you're not. Yeah. You just have to be listening for it. And I do think that, my job largely now is listening.
Right.
It's listening to everybody in Meebo, and it's listening to the market and blogs, and kind of what out of that can I take to kind of change strategy or alter strategy a little bit, and then communicate that back out.
Look for opportunities.
Yeah, exactly.
Figure out where you might have a defensive liability. You may get hit by a competitor.
Yep, all of it.
I mean, it starts to get like a crazy chess match, I find. And then you're playing a chess match over here, and then you're building chessboards over here. It's just,
listening is really important.
I think so. Yeah, very hard to do sometimes when you're in the thick of it. So you go from 30 down to 8. Then you have the beauty show. You go along on the road show. You meet with 8. Now, I'm assuming you get offers from half term sheets.
So
before?
yeah, we got a number of term sheets.
How many? 4 or 5?
I think it was 4. I think you're right. I think it was 4.
Makes the best, right?
And so we just had to kind of decide what to do, and it was actually long, agonizing decision-making process.
Right, because you got to say no to 3 people who love you enough to give you millions of dollars.
Yeah, and we loved them enough to include them in the process.
Right.
And so
it'd just be the equivalent for people at home of if you dated the 8 women or guys you like best, and you date them each for a month, get down to 4 who say we want to get engaged. And then you've got to get rid of 3 and say, you know what, I know you want to get engaged, but I don't. That's brutal. You got 3 no's. How do you say no?
We're just when we did that, we just called them out and we're like, hey, here, we're going to go with another firm. Here is the reason why. So we're very kind of open with people. Meebo is just a very, very open culture.
Right.
So we're just very open with people, and we're like, here's the reason why it pains us to not go with you. But, frankly, at this point, having worked with Sequoia for 3.5 years now,
you made the right decision.
We made a great decision. I mean, Roelof is fantastic. Sequoia's been awesome.
Yeah.
I implicitly trust them, and that's huge in your Series A investor.
I think so. We have a similar story. I met with 2 VC firms, 3 VC firms, for the round for Mahalo. Slightly different situation. I was going to fund it myself. Actually, Mark Cuban and I and Matt Coughlin were going to fund it, just 3 individuals. I said, maybe I should just go meet the 3 top VC firms. Went to meet 3, had interest from 3, and picked Sequoia, and picked Roelof. Yep. Very much a similar thing. Why did you, I mean, I don't want to make this a Roelof show. I'm sure he's watching, but we do happen to share a board member. What did you think of Roelof when you met him, and how did that factor into you picking Sequoia?
Well, I do think that to a large degree you're picking a partner, not a firm.
Correct.
Right? And what I mean, I mean by that is, Sequoia has a number of partners at it, and you will end up working, day by day, week by week with the partner who sits on your board who championed your investment.
Right.
And so you really need to make sure when you're looking at a VC firm that you're thinking about, okay, who is the person who will be on my board? Who is going to do this investment? Because that will drive your level of happiness with that investment. So Roloff was awesome. He would, I guess the stuff that we really liked about him from a personal perspective is he's just very, very product oriented, very rational, right? Like it is hard to deal with irrational, but he is very rational.
Logical guy.
Logical guy.
Product driven.
Product driven, and also analytical.
And analytical.
He was an actuary.
Yeah, he was a CFO.
Yeah.
He's, I think he's a nice complement to business CEOs, which I would put us both in the sort of business CEO, we think business-wise, and product CEO. We're both sort of product CEOs, not tech CEOs. There are tech CEOs.
Product-y, but not tech.
Product-driven CEOs. So that's probably the best way to say it. We're product-driven CEOs versus tech-driven. He's very good with that because he's got the business head. And I noticed when I talk to him, he's smart enough to know when you have a strong CEO who's doing the job properly, you probably don't need to tell them what to do.
Oh, yeah.
You need to put things on their radar.
Yep, absolutely.
And most of the conversations I have with him are, here's what I'm thinking about, are you thinking about it? And constantly available.
Yep, always available.
Always available, always asking what I can do.
Yep, absolutely.
The good news is, in our cases, things are going well in both companies. There's not much for him to do. What do you do with that? That's an interesting question. What do you do when things are going so well, your company's going so well? If there's not a lot for the VCs to do or the board members to do you find they interfere a little bit? Or is there some board management or investor management you have to do when it's going so well? Because when it's going bad, they know they roll up their sleeves, they're engaged. When it's going well, how do you deal with them?
Well, I mean, like any other company, Meebo, right now we have challenges that we think are huge challenges that we have to go tackle. Things are going overall very, very well for the company right now, but there are periods where it's like, oh man, we just got like 5 pieces of bad news in one day, right? That's kind of painful. Happens in startups all the time. And so what I do with the board is I meet with them once a month, everybody individually.
Oh, that's a smart one.
I have one-on-one meetings with all the board members once a month, and I just bring them through what is happening, why this is happening, what we're doing to address it, both on the positive side and the negative side.
Right.
So again, it's just like communicating.
If you over-communicate, I think it sends them the signal that they don't have to worry as much. It's the people who are maybe not...
Right. If you're holding stuff close to the vest all the time, I think that, I get worried. When I meet with someone and they don't tell me some stuff that's just, like, why will you not tell me that?
Right. It's just a red flag.
Then I'm kind of like, why not?
It's such a transparent environment. I think some of the old school CEOs, maybe it's hard to be transparent.
Yeah.
I did 2 things. One, I give all the board members that want it access to Google Analytics, so they can see exactly what's happening on a day-to-day basis. If you flood them with information, they don't have to ask you, so half your conversations go away because they can find the answer themselves. The second thing is we have an email list for the entire company. I offer them if they want to be on it. Now, they might get 30 emails in a day or 10 in a day because we have a huge thing going, but Roloff is on the team mailing list, so he sees everything. Going on, and it's so much easier for me because I don't have to explain to him like, oh, this is the discussion. Then one time out of 200 messages, once every 2 weeks, he might respond to something to me, not to the list company, but just to me, like, hey, this is cool, or hey, this is this.
It's interesting. Yeah.
How many people now in the company?
50, a little over 50. We even have a New York office, which blows my mind. When we started, if you told me that we were going to, that's sales. Yeah.
How many salespeople out of 50?
Oh, I would say we're probably at about 6 now, roughly.
And how long have you been doing sales?
We just started on monetization about 9 months ago. That's when we hired our Carter Brokaw, who runs sales for Meebo. He's our chief revenue officer.
Sweet.
He opened the New York office and then started hiring just a small team, because when you start on revenue, right, you don't know if your ad product is going to work or not.
Right.
You have no idea. And so you can hire all the sales folks in the world, but if they have nothing to sell.
Yeah, I mean, if you're selling like rotten eggs.
Yeah, waste of money.
Right? Yeah, you just hired like a killer sales staff and bought them all Blackberries and laptops, and they can't sell you rotten eggs.
Then that's not so good. But so we built a very small team to test whether or not our units would work in the market.
Right.
The test went very, very well. And so now we're in, okay, we need to build the sales team mode. So, we just hired 2 new account executives in New York. We need to find someone in Chicago. We need to find someone to cover the Northwest for us.
And here's this is super cool. Hold on a second. Can we pull up my laptop? I just want to show you the ad unit you guys made.
Sure, yeah.
And I love this. So, Cara?
Yep, Ciara. Yep.
Ciara.
Yep.
How would you ever know how to? So this is. How would you ever pronounce that?
Standard 728 by 90, which is neat because it's an IAB standard.
Which sucks and is totally ineffective.
But you have to figure out how to work with it.
However,
so click on the ad or mouse over the ad, and you'll see it's going to expand into rich media.
Now this people are going to like.
Now this is not. They do. So this is 900 by 400 pixels.
This is a $10. What do you say? What's the rack rate for this? $10?
Yeah, the rack rate's $12.50.
$12.50. If it opens,
it's a $12.50 CPM
for the
and that's
for the banner.
Great for the banner. For the banner.
So do they pay extra when it opens, or that's
no?
Okay.
No. So
and the open rate on this is like a 1%.
1%,
which is 4 times the average.
Yeah, it's huge. It's fantastic. I think the average
this
internet
must work well for entertainment stuff.
Yeah. Well, you know what's interesting? We've run Javiana's flip flops in there. We've run Procter & Gamble's herbal essences, shampoos in there.
Okay. Let me pick which one got the best click-through. Keep going.
No, believe it or not, it's a 1% click-through on everything.
Really?
Yeah. So you say, how do you do that, right? And here's the even more impressive stat. This is what's really interesting. After the person opens up the banner, on average, the user spends 1 minute and 30 seconds in that expanded rich media state.
And that's because there's video in it.
So what does Javiana's do? They have a flip-flop carousel, right, of all the different styles, and then 3 videos right next to it. That was in September, by the way, so we were a little nervous because flip-flops in September.
Open this up again so we have it here. I just want to show it while we're talking over here. It's a great ad unit.
So then you've got, let's see, so herbal essences for Procter & Gamble, they did kind of, different forms of herbal essences, like what's your moisture content, so you could really explore.
Yeah, you get to interact with it, and it's large.
Exactly, so Samsung has run phones in there, Sprint has run campaigns in there, Verizon's running right now, and it's a quiz. So it's basically, we're trying to give brands a canvas through which they can create interesting interactive content for the users.
Right.
Right.
And so who builds the actual unit? You do or they do?
So usually...
they make the banner.
Yeah, they make the banner, but then inside the 900 by 400 pixels that we're giving them, they can put a 300 by 250, they can put a media player, right? So they can still take standard elements and put it in the 300 by 250.
You know my favorite part about this is?
Yep.
When I hover over it, the little Meebo logo filling. Because it makes it feel like the ad's part of the product. Yep. And obviously this is really working with...
Yep.
Are these Amazon ones here? Are they buying these, or are these affiliate house ads?
So this is the music label is running this ad here, and then the music label is taking the money on Amazon in that particular case.
I see. But you're getting your 1250 CPM or whatever.
Right.
By the way, this is just people know. Chat. It's the worst CPM ever.
That was what everybody
historically
told us. People told us you're
no, but it was AOL couldn't sell this stuff, and you figured out a way to make it work.
It's working.
Or are you starting to?
Yeah, it's working pretty well.
Working pretty well. And 36 million uniques a month means you get 15 million people a day using this or something?
Who
knows?
Yeah, it's
don't have
distributed. So our total traffic is distributed across Meebo.com and our syndicated products as well.
Right, sure.
Yep, which we should probably talk about too.
Oh yeah,
pretty
so
cool
this is let's talk about that. So here's my yearbook.
Yep.
And now I'm on here, and at the bottom of the page, down here, this looks like the little Facebook chat bar.
Yep. So we call it Community
Who had it first? You did or they did?
Facebook put out their chat bar first.
Right.
Now we've put out Community IM, which works on anybody's site.
So basically, you get what you get what Facebook has on your site.
My yearbook, for example, when a user logs in, all their friends, you can click on the 9 friends online over on the right there. Right. That's just all of, in this case, Danny's friends on my yearbook, and we can just chat with any of them.
Is it on this page, or it's on all?
It's on every page.
So it's the domain name?
Exactly. It's just across my yearbook for all the users who want it.
Privacy issue there or no?
No. It's just your individual friends who you
So you know they happen to be there? It's your My Yearbook friends.
It's your My Yearbook friends.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
So, My Yearbook is able to just give us, like the user just signed on, their list of friends, and then we turn it into an IM network for My Yearbook.
Right. And so how does this work? If I want to put this on Mahalo, which one of your guys emailed me.
Yep.
And I get about 100 of those emails a day. Like, how do we get your 5 million uniques? And I'm always like, how much are you going to pay me? Or what is the business deal? Because I looked at it and I was like, this sounds interesting, but I don't know. Am I building the Meebo brand, or am I building the Mahalo brand? And so how do you balance that? I'll tell you. Sell me on it right now.
Yep. So there are 2 interesting things about this. One is we're going to do multi-network on it. So Mahalo or My Yearbook or other partners of ours like IGN from News Corp or Addicting Games from Viacom, the user there will be able to bring their friends in from the other networks Meebo powers as well, or that Meebo has access to.
How?
So it'll just be bring my MySpace friends in with my MySpace ID. Bring my AIM friends in with my AIM ID. If you set it up once somewhere, it'll work everywhere else that community IM bar is.
So basically, you've got how many sites doing this?
So we've signed now 70 plus sites.
Wow.
Yep.
How long have you been doing this?
We started about a year ago on this project, a little over a year ago now. So this project it's pretty interesting to see how it's evolved.
There's like a little bit of a gamesmanship here when you're talking to a publisher like myself. It's like, if I come in here, I'm giving all these users over to Meebo's network, but I'm getting access to these other
networks.
And so it's sort of like, who's in there now? And
exactly, and from a sharing perspective, right? Because I think what you would love as a publisher is probably that users on your site, right, can find really cool stuff on your site, talk to their buddy on Facebook about it, talk to their buddy on AIM about it, and send them something from Mahalo.
Right.
Because then their buddy from Facebook is much more likely to come on over to Mahalo and check out what they saw. Now, the business deal is also interesting, right? So just like we are monetizing Meebo with what brands that really, ads that really work for brands, right, with that high click rate and high engagement rates, we are going to be putting very similar advertising into Community IM as well.
And then we split that 50-50?
And then we split that 50-50, exactly.
50-50, I think
it's a pretty good deal.
You know what? I got to be honest. If you had I don't think you need to make 50% of that. If I was you, and this is just me doing a self-serving negotiation here, I would offer the publishers 100% of the revenue for the first 100,000 per year. Then after that, I would go 50-50. So you come in gangster style and be like, you're going to make $100,000 a year from this product. Then we're going to go 50-50. If you did that with the publishers, I would sign up immediately. Because then I would say to me, this guy's confident he's going to break the 100. But a lot of times when people do this, I say, you know what, they're not confident enough for me to put it on there because I think they want access to my 5 million. And they just want my 5 million users, and this, everybody wants. So that's the way I test people.
Interesting.
Is I force them to give me 100% of the revenue for X period of time.
Yep.
Or I say, I'll do it if you guarantee me $100,000 in revenue for the year based on X percentage. Guarantee me a $2 CPM. You get it at $12.50, guarantee me $2 CPM.
I guess what we found is when we go to publishers, right, real time is very much happening in the web right now. People are beginning to recognize that real-time interaction, right, on the web is very big. And they like real-time elements in their site, right? How can I have real-time sharing? How can I have real-time alerts? How can I let my user reach out to their friend who they also know is online right now in real time and grab them in so they can do something together?
I kind of like that.
It's hard technology to build. It's very, very hard to make it truly
No, building
synchronous.
this, I think to build this is, I think this takes somebody 3 months minimum to build a lightweight version. I'm not talking about an interoperable version. I'm just talking about for your site. You're talking about 2 or 3 months of coding this with 3 or 4 people. Just to make a little simple version for your site, conservatively you're going to spend $150,000. You might want to spending $300,000 or $400,000.
So it depends how big your site is, actually.
Of course, right. If you have 100,000 people,
small site, kind of 100,000. If you have 100,000 uniques a month, scaling this is going to be hard. The part that will be the hardest is actually making all the JavaScript work on the page, not interfere with the Flash. Be fast, not slow down your page loads.
And you guys are going to be adding features constantly, so then you get into feature race.
But if you get into, think about this, right? If you get into a site that has hundreds of thousands of users online at the same time,
forget it.
Right?
You're talking about
scaling that.
You need 100 servers.
Exactly. That's what you would think. Now, Meebo doesn't do that, right? Because this is what we do. So we are incredibly
you figured out ways
efficient.
But I mean, if you're doing it, you can have maybe 1,000 people on the server. If you're doing this like
hopefully more than that.
You guys might be able to handle 20,000 a server or something.
Exactly. And so if you think about it, it's just like you go online, and now your 200 friends need to be told, and they may be on different servers. And then another friend.
No, it's a big problem. How many servers do you guys have total at this point?
We're probably at the 200-300 mark. It's not that many. We've always concentrated on efficiency. Yeah. Right.
Okay. So that's good. Somebody just Jason WDW just twittered gangster style 100% until X dollars, then 50% split. So I love when you guys quote the show. That's awesome. Questions from the audience, go ahead and put them at #TWiST. And wow, quick plug, This Week in Startups every Friday at 1 p.m., except next week when we're going to do a show on Monday. In 3 short days, you're going to get another This Week in Startups at 1 p.m. And the reason I'm doing that is because Lockhart Steele, not an adult entertainer, Lockhart Steele is the founder and CEO of Curbed.com. He also was previously editorial director at Gawker. He happens to be in town. Curbed.com is an amazing site. I love that site, and he's here, so I figured we got to do the interview. So next week, show's on Monday, not Friday. Questions for Seth and being an entrepreneur, go ahead, put those in the chat room with a #TWiST there. Somebody's asking if Roloff is on Twitter. He is. I don't remember his. He might be Arbotha, but I don't think he uses it. He's too busy for that nonsense. Startups you think are the most promising? What startups do you look at and go, dang, I'd like to be, if I wasn't CEO of this, I'd like to be CEO of that company?
I really like what VideoEgg is doing with premium branded ads. I think it's fantastic.
Really?
Yep, they're doing a really good job there.
Premium advertising.
Yep, in the branded space, right? Because people, if you zoom out on branded advertising on the web, there is not a great place for brands to go right now on the web. And social media should be it. It has the right characteristics, but the ad units have been wrong. Right? And so you need to figure out how to do ad units that work in social media for brands. And that's what Meebo is really focusing on, right, on the revenue side there. VideoEgg is focusing on it in their own way as well, so I think that they're doing something very, very interesting.
Like this Let's pull up my laptop here. So anyway, this is the VideoEgg ad unit, which is beautiful. And they've got a video, and I mean, it's just like a whole sort of environment for the BMW here, I guess. And you can go through each of the features, exterior design. It's clever. I guess that's one of their units you're talking about?
Yep.
So you guys were both trying to take... Why isn't YouTube doing stuff like this?
I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. I think it's hard to do ads as a product really well. Like, you have to dedicate a full-on team to it. You have to dedicate creative resources to it.
Correct.
You need to have management attention on it. Like, if you really want to do ads well, you have to make it a center of competency on the technical side, the business side, the creative side, and
that's a big part of what you're doing now.
Exactly.
So the first part of the company was like, let's make a product. Then you scale the product. Now you're monetizing.
And then you figure out how to monetize. Exactly.
And you guys have done 2 or 3 rounds of funding.
We've done 3 rounds of funding.
The last one was a monster round, if I remember correctly.
It was pretty big.
30 million, 20 million?
It was 25 million.
Fantastic. And you guys got that one done before the financial apocalypse?
It was April, yeah. So it was starting.
So that means you have 3 years worth of capital in the bank, and you're probably going to hit break even within a year.
We're pretty comfortable.
When do you think you hit break even?
I really couldn't say.
He knows the exact day, actually. I know how you've got a spreadsheet somewhere that says, in 2011, on that February 16th at 4 p.m., we hit profitability. You're such a good liar. I'm not playing poker with you. I respect that. But boy, profitability is a great moment for a business.
Profitability is great. I'll tell you. It's awesome.
So how are you handling the pressure from the financial apocalypse? Was the fall, be honest about this, because a lot of people are stressed out.
Yeah.
In the fall and early this year, were you panicking? Were you concerned? Were you sleepless nights? Did you do layoffs? How did you approach a bomb going off in our backyards?
So we were lucky in that we had raised the $25 million in April.
Right.
So we had a big cash cushion.
Lucky or smart?
Well, Roloff actually had told us as early as October 2007, guys, the economy doesn't feel good.
Told me too, right?
And I'm sure he did. Martin, the COO at Meebo, he's kind of a finance wonk, is one of his many hats, and he was like, the economy doesn't feel good, so that's kind of led us there. But when it was truly in meltdown mode in October and November, we did 2 things. We really communicated to the team, like, guys, this is bad. There is not another dime out there for Meebo, right? In terms of capital raise.
You're not raising
We will not raise any more capital.
Right.
So we must use the money that we have to get to break even. And it feels comfortable that we have this much money.
Right.
But hey, a year from now, it's going to feel a lot less comfortable, right?
Yeah.
If we're not performing really well.
Right.
So we must execute
now
and be incredibly focused, right? I think a mistake startups make is they're not focused enough. So we're like, if it's not a feature that either produces growth or revenue, we cannot do it.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, fortunately, growth features tend to be features users like, right? Because it wouldn't help you grow if the users didn't like it.
The virtuous cycle there.
Exactly. And so we just said focus. We were fortunate that we didn't have to do layoffs. A big part of that is that we were only at, at the time, maybe 40, 45. And so Meebo's hiring philosophy has always been hire only the absolute best, both on the technical side and the culture fit side. We test for it maybe a little bit in the extreme. And if we're not sure, we basically just don't hire. And so we've always had a very, very small but incredibly efficient team. And that is a big part of what has kind of let us get where we are.
And did you do layoffs or not?
No, we didn't.
No layoffs?
No.
So you were building...
We were just so small.
You had the right size organization.
Yeah, if you look at the size of the companies that did do layoffs, they were bigger. They were 100, 200, right? We were already very small.
Right. And so how many... Do you have... You don't really have pages as such because people are logged in. You have hours logged? How do you measure that?
We don't have pages. It's actually interesting. It was a problem initially, right? Like, what the heck do you do without page views when the market expects page views?
Yeah.
Right? And so the way we dealt with it is we said, okay, well, we've got the average user for 2 hours a day, right? So start there. You've got a really long session time.
Right.
Okay? Now let's cut it up into time segments.
10 minutes.
Right? Yeah, sure, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, mess with it, right?
Yep.
Figure out what works. You don't want to rotate every 30 seconds because it's a horrible user experience.
Sure.
You don't want to leave something up too long. It's boring.
5 minutes.
Yeah, sure. I mean, just...
What's the time? How long do you leave that ad up there for?
We've varied it from everything from 2 minutes to 15 minutes. So we play with stuff.
What do you think is the ultimately the sweet spot? 7 minutes?
What's actually... You know what we found?
Or do you do it until you get the 1%?
Oh, no.
So that would be kind of interesting.
No, what we found... But you're right. We cannot... Frankly,
could tweak
we can absolutely tweak it to... But what we found is, the efficiency of the ad, targeting, the behavior of the ad, yada, yada, that lets you lower the time interval.
Right, when it hits 1%, move on.
Exactly, so you can, if it's 1%
don't need more than
in 10 minutes, you can move it 1%, 2 minutes, right? So it gives you more inventory.
Right, the next 5 minutes is not going to grow it that much.
Yeah, exactly.
If you were going to roll over on it, you would have done it in 5.
And the thing is, users, what we found about the ad is users want content.
Right.
Right? We put a new ad in there,
Yeah.
and it actually spikes in engagement rate because it's interesting stuff.
So I'm thinking 300 million impressions a month or something like that on 36 million. $5 CPM, you could be making $1.5 million pretty easily by the end of this year. That's my estimate, $1.5 million per month within a year or two. That puts the business at $20 million in revenue within a year or two. That's my guess of what you could do if the guys in New York, sales guys, gals, got to kill it. It's hard to sell right now.
Well, you know what's interesting about that, Frank, really, seriously, is if you're a brand, you need to figure out the social media thing.
Right.
You must.
You're in the right spot.
Right? You've got to.
Yeah.
And then when Meebo goes in, we're like, we know we're social media, and you may not have had a good experience up to this point with social media.
Right.
But if you test us, you will have a fantastic experience.
Right.
You will. We will give you a 1% plus click rate. We will give you great average times of engagement, right? The user,
so you're taking the risk out.
Yeah, we're just saying, look, it's going to be great.
Okay.
And we'll also actually, and this is really another interesting stat, we have some sharing stuff built into that ad unit, which is a little hard to see because the screen size is small. And on average, 10% of the users who open an ad in Meebo
share it.
Share it.
Hello.
Use social media for what
questions from the audience, and then ladies, Rich DeMuro will be out here with the news. We have a newscaster here on the This Week in Startup show. Rich DeMuro getting a lot of love letters. In fact, Brian Alvey's wife, Nikki Alvey, put a little note in there. Nothing about me, nothing about Brian, just Rich DeMuro is pretty hot. So I don't want Rich DeMuro to get a big head. He's going to actually think he's going to get paid for this at some point. We made it clear to Rich that this is not a job like just for fun, right? We have to get him a gift card or something. Maybe we get him a laptop or something when we get to 10 shows with him. Okay, so questions from the audience. Look at all these pound twists coming up. Good question. Let's see. So each server can support 150,000. Well, that's not a question. Okay, here we go. Question from Alex Ondier. Alex Ondier, he wants to know, and I will open this tweet in a new tab. Let's see, maybe you can read it there, even better. How do you feel about storing the passwords for all those user services from a security perspective? That's got to be an interesting issue.
Yep.
Discuss.
It is. So we only do that if the user creates a user account at Meebo. We then store them hashed. So you need the Meebo password to get to the password that is of the services.
Right.
But then what's interesting is we can't even get at the Meebo password itself of any given user.
Right.
Because that's stored encrypted.
Right.
So if a
even
user
if you
writes,
wanted to, yeah.
Right, if a user writes and says, "Hey, I need my password,"
we can't help.
we can't help.
We
yeah,
can
you have
email
to change
you,
it. We can email you. Literally, all we can do is change it for the user, the way we've done
That's
security.
standard practices.
Yep. So it's standard practices exactly.
Right. So it's all encrypted.
But you've got to be incredibly careful, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like this is an area of real concern, right? Because users want to feel like when they're using a website that it's safe. So we offered, for example, really early on, users said we want is the best security possible.
Right.
So we started encrypting all passwords that we sent, even if it was not over SSL connection to Meebo, even if it was in the clear, we encrypted the password, right. in JavaScript.
Right.
Or shortly thereafter, users said we really want a secure version of Meebo. We did HTTPS, an SSL version of Meebo.
Yeah, bigger cost to that, or just the technology?
It is a little more expensive, unfortunately, but it's better security.
Another great question, and then we go to the news. Here we have Justin Vincent asking, you can pull up my laptop. Seth, what kind of environment do you try to foster at the office? Culture question, i.e. do you do things like the 20% playtime? I think that's personal time, but very well played. How much free time do you give your employees to make no contribution to the company?
So because we're very, very small and we absolutely only hire the best people,
right.
Everyone gets along incredibly well. So we actually had our company picnic day yesterday. So yesterday we weren't in an office, we were in the park.
Right.
Playing Ultimate Frisbee and volleyball.
Hear that, venture capitalists?
Sorry.
50 people
that,
out in the park.
What can I tell you? It was a good company bonding day.
Don't tell Roloff, but we're going to be leaving after the show to go see Star Trek.
Oh, there you go.
Taking everybody out to see Star Trek.
Awesome. We should do that.
Culture, very important.
Very
what kind
important.
of culture
but, yeah,
you like
in the office, so it's very, power is very distributed.
Right.
Right? So, there's a product team that works on ads. There's a product team that works on Meebo.com, a product team that works on Community IM, the syndicated business and other people's websites. Those teams figure out their roadmaps and figure out, how to move forward. It's very kind of jovial, like we've got foosball tables in the office, of course. A big sport, we've run out of office space for it. We used to play Foursquare all the time. We want people to be able to work on really interesting projects that interest them.
Yeah.
Right? So trying to make sure that, people are constantly challenged, constantly growing. Something we do that, I hope other companies do too, is every employee at Meebo has a one-on-one meeting once a week with their manager.
Oh.
Every week. And it's, what's going on. Like, it's not just, work and did you get this done or that done, because it's really done at the product team level anyway. This is more like, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Are you enjoying what you are working on?
Yeah.
Right? And so, like we just had
once a week? A little too much?
No, it's once a week. It works out. I mean, people really like it. And it lets us stay, it lets us know how people on the team are feeling.
Is this,
so it's very
I'm
important.
Guessing the team skews a little bit young?
It skews a little young,
like
but we have employees really across the age range.
Yeah. Young people need more feedback. I know when I was young, I didn't get half the amount of feedback I wanted. It'd be like a 1 year.
Yeah, mentoring I think is very good, right? And just helping folks understand kind of how to go through things. And just simple things like I'll go out to dinner. I went out to dinner with a few of the folks on the technical team the other night, and they told me about this thing that was worrying them. And I was like, okay, we've got to solve that, and we will, right?
They may be obsessed about something you don't even know.
Right, exactly. You just have no idea until you go hang out. You go hang out.
Get a couple beers,
with people,
a couple of glass of red wine.
Yeah,
very important.
We just had a few people take a week off together. It was a few Meebo folks took a week off and they bicycled. I could never do this from San Francisco to LA. Right over the course of a
vacation.
Week. That was their vacation.
I like
so
it.
It's just a very, very close knit company. Everybody really does feel like family.
Yeah,
and we think
I noticed that. I've been up at your
awesome.
company, and you got a really good
like
Zappos level.
Very close.
Yeah. I think it's very important.
Close.
Final question. Here we go. This is from Earl Wallace. We can pull up the laptop. Seth, what is your main focus when hiring a new employee? What do you look for when you got a new employee coming in?
So we look for the same stuff there that we do reviews on for employees once they join Meebo. Basically identical.
Consistency.
Yep. So it's two sides. One is the culture side, and the other is the technical fit side. So on the culture side, it's stuff like, are you open? Are you not arrogant? Are you team-oriented? Are you driven, right, motivated? Do you take ownership? And are you proactive? Right, and those are the things. We literally have a checklist of interviewing questions, and we look for that. So we have the motivation questions. We have the, culture fit questions.
How do you determine if somebody's arrogant? Because there's a fine line between being confident, cocky, and arrogant.
Yep, it is a fine line.
You want confident people.
Yep.
But you don't want somebody who's...
Frankly, I think that one is a good... We don't have the arrogant checklist, but I think it's a gut feel thing.
Gut feel.
Any position, a business person, a tech person who interviews at Meebo, they interview with techies, they interview with creative folks, they interview with business folks. So all teams meet with people who interview at Meebo.
So the truth comes out.
Yeah, you figure it out. So that's the culture fit side. On the technical fit side, no matter the role in Meebo, we put people through what we call the sim. It's a simulation. So someone who wants to join Meebo on the backend server team, or which is straight C, so it's a tough language, or people who want to join on the front end team, which is JavaScript, they will sit on the coding floor with the other devs at Meebo and code a project.
Yeah.
And we want to see how they interact.
Yeah.
Right? We want to see what their coding style is.
Little code jam.
Yeah. So that's on the tech side. But then, a business development person or a salesperson, they'll pitch us. Right? We'll bring a group of people and we'll say, hey, you're from Meebo and we're from Coke.
Go
pitch us. Yeah.
And you're on.
It's the sim.
You did that with product managers. What's very astute observation on your part is the best way to tell if somebody is good at a job is to watch them do the job.
Oh, it's huge.
And this is one of the problems with the education system we have is that we rely on standardized testing, which in fact means nothing.
Yeah, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
And you get somebody who just happens to have good verbal ability and they crush it and go to Harvard, and then you actually see them try to interact with people on a project and they're knuckleheads.
Yeah, well, I got to tell you, my father has a theory of intelligence, which is there's kind of analytical, creative, and practical.
Yeah.
And the SAT and standardized tests do a great job on analytical, but they don't really test creative or practical intelligence, right?
Emotional intelligence.
Yep.
All right, well, this has been an awesome interview. We're going to have you sit in for the news, and that means it's time for the news with Rich DeMuro. And I think we have a slide for Rich and music. I'm waiting for the slide and the music, and I'm sure it's coming. Rich, you come on in. Looking good. Ladies, brace yourself. Rich is coming in. I'm sure we have... Oh my God, look at this! Dun, dun, dun. It's Rich DeMuro with the news.
Wow.
Look at that. Look at that. Rich, very... All right, Rich, we're here. You're going to read us the news. I am going to comment in rapid fire, blunt, honest fashion. I think this might be people's favorite segment of the program after the interview because we get such great guests. People love the news. You hit a home run last week.
Thanks.
And you've been getting, be honest, a lot of kudos for it.
It's been fun.
Any dates come out of this?
No, not yet. But maybe, you never know. Today's a new day.
You're single or no?
No, I'm married, so.
Oh,
that's
okay. Forget that. You just ruined it. All these women who've been tweeting about you.
That's okay.
You're a married guy. I didn't even know that. All right, he's married.
Fine.
Sorry, ladies. All right, what do you have for us in the news?
All right, so let's start with Amazon. Not exactly a startup, but still sort of, it could impact startups. So they launched a new version of the Kindle this week. It's called the Kindle DX. It has more than twice the screen size of the original Kindle, and it's meant to be sort of the 21st century replacement for the newspaper. So this device has 4 gigs of storage, onboard support for PDFs, and wireless built right in, so your morning paper is ready when you are in the morning, depending on what time you get up. So it's going to be available this summer, under $500. Will you get one?
I think I'm going to buy this. I think Jeff Bezos is the most unheralded, underappreciated entrepreneurs at the moment. If you look, he solved the e-commerce problem, huge problem. Everybody's like, okay, he solved the e-commerce, big deal. He sells books.
Right.
It is a big deal, but okay, he sells books online. Maybe that's not such a huge deal. However, 2 huge problems. One, cloud computing. The bookseller e-commerce guy solves the cloud computing problem with EC2. This is pretty brilliant. And number 2, the e-reader, which is obviously a big issue, and he solves that.
Yeah.
This is a crowning achievement. The cloud computing problem should have been solved by IBM. It should have been solved by Microsoft. It should have been solved by Google. It should have been solved by SAP. It should have been solved by Oracle. The bookseller got you. That's what a real entrepreneur does. Jeff Bezos, I know the guy, is relentlessly listening and creative, and also is constantly asking questions. You see him at conferences, hanging out. I mean, you don't see many billionaires hanging out at ETAC or Foo Camp. They usually skip that kind of stuff and they go to Davos or they go to, the Allen & Company conference. He goes to the legit conferences and listens, and you see those wheels turning. He killed you, IBM. He killed you, Microsoft, on cloud computing. How you should be ashamed of yourselves that you let the bookseller kill you. Number two, Sony with the e-reader. Sony, Apple, hardware manufacturers, getting your ass kicked by the guy who sells books. I love it. He's an awesome entrepreneur. I am going to buy one of these. This is the size I've been waiting for. The price is stupid, frankly.
Yeah.
This is never going to become a mass market device at $500. What they need to do is make this device $19 a month with one audiobook from Audible, which they own, and I love Audible. Why are you not sponsoring the show, Audible? You know I love you. And they should include the New York Times, and they should include, Washington Post. $19 a month. That's $240 a year. You sign a 30-month deal. You get the Kindle. New York Times gets $10 a year, $30 over the life of the Kindle. Audible is their own thing, but they give the bookseller, something for the 5 free audiobooks that come with it. No brainer. There would be 10 million of these things out there within a year or two. If they made it a monthly payment, you will see that within a year. Monthly payments.
Like not the upfront thing. Okay, let's.
Seth, any thoughts on that?
I think Bezos is brilliant.
I mean, that dude's brilliant.
He is brilliant, undeniably. The Kindle probably. The one thing for me about that, I'm just not sure that I need to take that around to read something with me because I've got, I've got my MacBook Air everywhere.
Well, MacBook Air, and this is a very fair point. I have a MacBook Air, and that's why I don't have this. However, reading a newspaper and reading a book, it's getting to the point. If it had a really good podcaster in it, and I could download podcasts and watch this show or other shows like it,
sure,
I'd have one right now. And I think this is the one problem with it, with that e-ink and whatever. It's not going to play video.
Yeah.
If I could get podcasts onto it easily and maybe video podcasts, which I think he'll get to in version 4 or something, but he's onto something. And I mean, there's no any college in their right minds.
Oh, huge for textbooks.
When you, I mean, what do you spend on textbooks when you go to school now? $500
easily.
School
I think you spend $500 when you go to school. That's one of these. You get one per 4 years. He's brilliant.
Huge.
Next story.
All right, Craigslist competitor OLX. I don't know if that's how you say them, or I guess it's OLX. They got a cash infusion this week. This free classified ad site scored $5 million in funding, which brings their total funding now to about $30 million. So OLX is huge outside the U.S. in countries like Spain and India. And of course, statewide competitors here in the U.S. have had a tough time taking down Craigslist. OLX prides itself on being more Web 2.0. They said they're going to use this money for acquisitions. They also incorporate more social media tools. You look at Craigslist, it's like an old bulletin board system. This one has better search and even a mobile version. So can they chip away?
I pulled it up on the site here. It's a photocopy with bad iconography, a disgusting logo. I mean, this is terrible. There's nothing innovative about this. They will fail. Anybody who photocopies another person's website to this extent and doesn't put anything super innovative on it is going to be an also run. I don't see the killer feature here that makes it worth investing in. I'm sure those VCs must have seen something. But I think there's going to be one Craigslist. There doesn't need to be a second. It's sort of like game over. So I don't know why they invested in it. Maybe they see something, but there's a critical mass issue. And getting critical mass is very easy. Why do I go do this after I've posted my ad on Craigslist? I mean, we get too much response on Craigslist already. Yeah. I don't know, why do I need the second site if I'm getting the thing? And that's what people have to ask themselves here is there something you're doing when you make a startup that is so compelling compared to the original one that I would switch?
Right.
So what is it? And you know what? Switching, it can't be 15% better. It can't be 20% better if you're going to get somebody to switch. It's got to be 100%, 200%, 300% better to get somebody to switch. Meebo is a lot better of an experience, 3 or 4 times better than downloading 3 different clients. That's why people do it. Mm-hmm. That's why they stick with it. Mm-hmm. If it wasn't 300 or 400% better than the previous IM experience, they wouldn't. Google search was 500% better than regular search. Gmail was twice as good as Yahoo Mail. You need to be twice as good, not 10% as good. This is not going to work.
Carbon copy doesn't cut it.
Yeah, I don't get too much respect for the also runs. You know, I just think, like, really, 12 years later, you're going to photocopy Craig's site? I'm friends with Craig Newmark. Really? It's like 12 years later, and some VC puts money into. Who's the VC? Do you know?
You know, I didn't write
Hopefully,
it down.
if you're VCs and you're friends with me, I'm really sorry. But you're going to lose your money.
All right, so let's talk Twitter, one of our favorite topics here.
The Twitter of the week. Go ahead.
Lots of rumors circulating Twitter this week, of course, for buyers. Apple, one of the big rumored buyers, of course, they said no. No, this is not happening, apparently. But in the past, there's been reports that Microsoft and Google were also interested. But Twitter co-founder Biz Stone cleared it all up. Apparently, he was a guest on The View this week.
Yes.
And he said, quote, "No, we are not for sale." So he said he wants to focus Twitter on staying independent and incorporating new and better features to all the community members. But why would Apple want them?
That's a great question.
I think they could use some help on the website, though.
Apple has nothing on the website. I mean, MobileMe. So it does make sense. Twitter as a brand is simple and elegant. Apple. So I mean, there's a cultural thing there. Apple has, I think, $20 billion in cash or some ungodly amount of money that at some point they're probably going to be asked to pay a dividend. They're throwing off billions of dollars in profits a year. I mean, what else are they going to do with this money? They might as well buy it. I had breakfast with Ev and Biz 2 weeks ago. I gave Evan a piece of advice. Sell now. Sell. No, honestly, there's very few businesses that become worth over $1 billion. Apple, Microsoft, and Google, I guarantee have all offered $1 billion for it. And rightfully so. It's a juggernaut. And I think it's going to be well worth $1 billion, just like the YouTube acquisition at $1.6 billion looks like, you know, a bargain now. Just like the MySpace at $650, clearly a bargain. Anyway, I think it is for sale because technically everything is for sale. It's just not the right price right now. And what you have is you have a bunch of founders who have already made some money. They don't need to sell. Therefore, in order to sell, you would. This is a. When you're a second, third-time entrepreneur, you're not going for money.
Right.
It's like Michael Jordan coming back from, you know, after winning 3 championships. He's playing for legacy. He wants to win. They're playing for purity. So Biz and Evan, they just want to build a brand that becomes the same level as Google, same level as Facebook, same level as Yahoo. They want to have a brand for the ages. Why would they give up after just 3 years or 4 years, whatever it's been? Sure. They're going all the way. Now, somebody offers 3 times what it's worth, 4 times what it's worth, 5 times what it's worth. Well, if they have a chance to become billionaires, they'll probably sell it. But right now, it's sort of like somebody who really loves the house they live in. It's really hard to get them out. They love what they're doing. I don't think they're going to sell. Apple should buy it, double your offer, you'll make your money back. I honestly think it's very much like Facebook. Facebook was for sale for $1 billion and Yahoo didn't pay it. Duh.
I thought it was 2.
$2 billion, Yahoo didn't pay it? Hello, Yahoo. Who was running that joint at the time? I mean, Yahoo also offered like a couple $100 million for Google at some point, or could have. I mean, there's a long history of this. When you know it's going to work, and I think Twitter's going to work.
I think so.
It's overpay. What do you think?
I would absolutely be trying to buy Twitter if I were other folks as well, of course. I just think...
Put an enterprise value on it.
Interesting.
How high would you go? You're a CEO of Microsoft, Google, or Apple. How much would you go?
Oh, geez. I just don't know the answer to that. I don't know how much money is worth to them.
You got $30 billion in the bank.
Yeah.
Cash. You're throwing off $5-10 billion a year in profits.
Yeah. Seems like $1 billion's easy to part with then.
So $1 billion, you say $1 billion, no problem.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
$2 billion, go $2 billion. Now you're thinking about it.
That would be tough.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway,
That would be pretty tough.
therein you have the issue, which is this sort of faith and disbelief, reality and hype. But well, congratulations to those guys. Keep going.
All right, web video darling Hulu signed its first international deal today, or this week, with programmers. Currently, the service is only available in the U.S., and many people found a way around that by using sort of proxy servers to watch the site, but they closed the door on that loophole as well. But this new deal could make Hulu a worldwide online video powerhouse. The site says it's in talks to launch in 8 of the leading broadcast markets, and we are not talking New York, L.A. here, because they're already there. So, is this big, Hulu, worldwide?
Hulu is another juggernaut, and I think they're just getting started. And everybody wants to be next to the pretty girl. And now that you have Disney, we talked about last week, and Fox, and NBC, Now Bollywood, I mean, it's just dominoes falling now. Now it's just a matter of doing the deal. How much equity they have to give, revenue. But I think it's done. And I think you'll see Hulu actually maybe buy some companies. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Hulu-Netflix merger, perhaps. That would be pretty brilliant. Put those two brands together. You could have Hulu buy it. You could do a merger. It's already public. And the bigger issue is they have to work out deals with the licensees overseas. Because people are really pissed off in Australia, in China, and in Europe that they can't watch the shows that are on Hulu, and they're going through proxy service, etc. So bringing in international content, awesome idea. Bigger idea, everybody in the world watches Desperate Housewives or Lost at the same URL. A global television network. You know how they're talking about network TV being chipped away and the idea of 50 million people watching something like the final episode of MASH has sort of gone away? Sure. Guess what? It goes away until there's a global solution, and then it comes back even stronger. More people watching the NBA Finals in China than the United States. That tells you something. More people coming to Meebo, 2/3 from outside the U.S. than here. There's a much bigger world out there than the United States. And Hulu could have, for the first time in history, 1 billion people watch one television show at the same time. Sounds crazy, but what if 1 billion people watch the same thing? I don't know how many people globally watch the Super Bowl. I believe it was 100 million. What if you added a zero? What kind of business do you have when 1 billion people watch the same program? $3 million Super Bowl ad now turns into a $30 million Super Bowl ad. You're launching a brand. 1 billion people see your brand. How much is that ad worth if 1 billion people around the globe see your ad?
Yeah. Right, giving brands scale to their ads as they go across the web, right? Try to get scale on the web. Right. Huge.
Coca-Cola, how much does Coca-Cola pay to be the exclusive sponsor of Hulu when Hulu has 1 billion people watching that show every day? I mean, it's pretty incredible. Hulu, brilliant business. Lots of kudos to the mainstream media companies for actually getting there together, because everybody wants to count them out and say, oh, the TV guys are going to be dopes like the music people were idiots. They're not. The TV guys have got it on, like a Donkey Kong. So, keep going.
All right, let's talk about Chris Hughes. I don't know if you know who this is. He's a 25-year-old Facebook co-founder. He has a new business plan helping young entrepreneurs. So he settled in at Massachusetts-based General Catalyst Partners.
I know those guys.
There he says his main focus will be helping to create the next generation of web and media social networking startups. His early advice to entrepreneurs: develop confidence, work on something that's realistic, and build solutions for basic human problems. What do you think of his advice?
Wow. Take you all day to think of that? Work hard, be smart, create something with, I mean, really?
He's 25.
Yeah, so I started my own magazine when I was 25. Congratulations to me. I mean, really. You know, like, why is he not on Facebook still? You know, he's, honestly, I mean, this, you know what? Everybody I meet's a Facebook founder. How many Facebook founders have you met? The only company that got more founders than Facebook is PayPal. Everybody I meet founded PayPal. How is that possible? Are there 20 founders to PayPal at this point?
I don't know. There are a lot of ePinions founders, too.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, you know what? I think that this is like one of those moves. I know General Catalyst, smart guys, but they're just, it's the Facebook halo. Who knows who this person is? I mean, the fact that they were there when they started Facebook, it wasn't even Facebook's idea. They stole the idea. So, I mean, how much credit can you give them? No offense.
All right, let's talk about TWiST. So this is a startup. They're hoping to help people manage today's information overload, and their job just got a little easier. This year-old Seattle startup got $6.75 million in first-round funding. Now, this site consolidates all of your messages into one spot, whether they come from your Gmail, your email, your Twitter, Facebook, or anywhere else. And they have some stiff competition because Facebook's working on something similar. Microsoft, Google, they all have similar projects. So there's also other startups, including Zobni, Inbox spelled backwards, have tried this program. And Inside View, they were also funded a few months ago. So how crucial is this idea of one inbox for everything? TWiST.
You know, this one inbox idea has been around for a while. Everybody's been trying to do this. This Grand Central, which Google bought, they're trying to get the phone and everything. One of the problems is young people are not using email anymore. They like instant message, they like Facebook. So guess what? You know, like there is one thing, it's going to be Facebook's, you know, inbox or Twitter. If you think about it, Twitter takes maybe 1/3 of your emails. I think Twitter is public email. You know, a lot of the communication you do is like, hey, do you want to go to the movies and see Star Trek? People say that over Twitter now. They do a direct message over Twitter. So I think email as a medium is getting chipped away at. You know, people used to email their friends, hey, who wants to go see Star Trek tonight? Now they do it on Twitter. Now they do it through Facebook. It's just
I think it
erosion.
Also, it does depend, though, on what user group you're talking about. Like,
Right.
if you look at communication on the web right now, right, Twitter's kind of like synchronous, so real-time, and public, which is very different from real-time private, which is what IM is.
Although the D, don't
there
forget
is the D. There is the D.
There is the D.
You know, private, asynchronous is email, right? But if you also look at what youth use, right? Youth are in social networks, right? And they're in IM and texting.
Yeah.
Right, and that's where they really hang out. And for some reason, they're not, by Nielsen, not so much in Twitter and not so much in email.
Right.
Right, and so it's interesting to see where the youth are and what they're doing and what kind of the older generation folks do.
Got it. So now we're 2.5 hours in. Should we go to another story, or should we go to the new segment?
The Deadpool?
Let's do the Deadpool.
All right, let's do it.
Let's go for the new segment. We had Ask Jason was a new segment, and now our second segment, the Deadpool. Are we supposed to... All
right, so
do we have a slide for this, or do we have a music, like a funeral... The Deadpool. That is a disgusting looking pool. Oh my God. So Deadpool. What's in the Deadpool right now? Tyler, can we see what's in the Deadpool? Tyler, oh, no need to turn your phone off, Tyler. For the show. No need, Tyler, executive producer. Okay. Tyler. Oh, look at that. There's the Deadpool. What do we see in the Deadpool there? Can we zoom in a little bit and see who's in the Deadpool already? Wow. Look at that. GeoCity is in the Deadpool. Cosmo.com. We've got a little Napster in the Deadpool. Well, what are we talking about for the Deadpool this week?
All right, so we have two. We have Wikisearch. So this was the search engine that was supposed to kill Google and Yahoo from Wikipedia. And apparently they only have 10,000 users a month going to this site, which is not enough to keep it. So they've taken all the assets away from it. They're not really putting any more people into doing anything with this.
10,000 people a month.
I mean, can that seem right? Can you have just 10,000?
I hate to gloat, but I will. I'm not above gloating. Wikisearch, Jimmy Wales said he was going to kill Google, that Google needed to be stopped. And he spent 1 year building Wikisearch, and then he gave up. Pulled the plug. No more effort. Seth, I know you don't want to get into this and say something bad about another entrepreneur. However,
probably not.
Let me ask you this.
Oh dear.
What do you think about an entrepreneur who spends 1 year working on a project and then gives up? Honestly, not this entrepreneur, but any entrepreneur who says 1 year, I give up. After being on the cover of Fast Company and saying he's going to kill Google.
Well, what I do think is, hey, Elaine, Sandy, and I, we did 8 months on our first idea, and then we killed it.
Right.
8 months on our second idea, and then we killed it.
Right.
Right. Third one went really well.
Okay.
We were passionate about it. So I think if you do find roadblocks all over the place, if you lose passion, I do think you should give up. Right?
Okay.
But move on to the next one.
Right.
Absolutely. Don't give up as an entrepreneur.
So,
never give up.
I think we'll take this and... Tyler, I think we should throw this into the Deadpool. Shall I throw this into... Is this what I'm supposed to do? I'm supposed to take this and throw it into the Deadpool?
You need like a splashing sound.
Yeah, that's what we need. So here it is, Tyler. Here's your Wikisearch. I guess we get that on the screen. And Wikisearch into the Deadpool. So long, suckers. All right, so anyway, no, in all seriousness, we're having fun with it. Let me tell you why it failed, if I may. Number one, voting on search results is a stupid idea. It's the worst possible thing you could do. There are SEOs everywhere who are trying to game search results, and now you've given them the tools to do so? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Voting is the worst proxy for search. Second, is something I learned from the classic business movie, Scarface. Never get high on your own supply. Those are critical for an entrepreneur. I think Jimmy Wales got a little high on the fact that he built Wikipedia. The fact is, Larry Sanger came up with the idea for Wikipedia, not Jimmy Wales. Everybody knows that. Look it up. Larry Sanger named Wikipedia and came up with the idea of using a wiki on the previous site, Newpedia. You put those two things together. You get in the time 100. You get all this press, and then you think you can take on the world, and you take the lessons that worked for you here, and you apply them to something else. And you start to get high on your own supply and think, gosh, I'm in the time 100, I can do anything. But really what you need to do is focus on a day-to-day level on a problem that you're passionate about, and that's not what happened here, from what I understand. Measure your press by the pound, and then throw it away. It's not important. You get a lot of press.
Some.
Do you get like all obsessive, like, oh my God, I got all this press?
No, actually don't even read the dramatic majority of it.
Exactly.
Yep.
This is what great entrepreneurs do. When you get that press, throw it away. It's meaningless. The press is by definition a reflection of what you've already done. It is meaningless. Entrepreneurs out there, measure your press by the inch, weigh it by the pound, throw it away. It's meaningless. What matters is what you do every day. Don't get high on your own supply. Don't pull a Jimmy Wales. Next for the Deadpool.
All right, so this one, Project Playlist. So they were plagued with sort of legal issues at the beginning. Yes. I guess they did end up working out their legal issues with the record labels. But their CEO just jumped ship to MySpace.
Owen?
And
took my job. Just kidding. I was never going to take that job. You guys know that.
That's it. I mean, what more can I say? Is this dead?
Well, this is an interesting one. Project Playlist, a service that helps you steal MP3s illegally. What do we think? What's the long-term outlook for a service that allows you to steal music? Any thoughts on that, Seth? I don't want to drag you into this. This is the worst segment to have guests. They're just like mortified. No, honestly. A Project Playlist, you know them?
So we do know them pretty well and think they're very, very smart. Our team loves working with their team. The other thing is, music is going to get distributed digitally.
Yes.
And the right business model will come.
Right.
And smart teams will figure it out. It's just going to happen.
Right.
Right? So if Project Playlist is working on it, if iMeme's working on it, right, it will be discovered. You need the right team to do it. Those guys are pretty smart. So I think they can probably get there.
But pulling up my thing here, like, just as an example, I just did a search for Kanye West, and here are all these Kanye West songs, and I can download these? I mean, really? I guess they're just indexing the web. I guess that shouldn't be illegal. But just in general, music industry, not big fans of having their stuff stolen. The music industry has a very specific strategy. What they do, the music industry, is they wait for companies like this, or Muxtape, or Napster, to reach some scale, and then they smack them down. And the reason they wait is because they want to make examples of people. When somebody steals from you, you make an example of them, and that's what the music industry does. They smack them down. So Project Playlist, not dead yet. Maybe they find the solution. I hope they do. I think for now, can I like teeter them on the dead?
Yeah,
pool?
like waiting on the side of the pool?
I think they're on the side of the pool.
Like almost jumping in.
Yeah, like if this was here, like this is sort of where Project Playlist
Like their toes would be in the pool.
They're like, yeah, they're just on the edge, just sort of dancing on this little beach ball here. See that? They're just sort of like about to, there you go. That's where Project Playlist is. They're on the verge of going in the dead pool. Don't mess with the music industry. Those guys are gangsters.
Okay, how many more do you want?
One more news story.
One more news. Okay, all right. So, what do you want? Do you want Voodoo, Twitter, and TinyURL, iMeme, or this new search engine, which I think is kind of interesting, Specify?
You pick.
Okay.
I'll let you pick.
Let's do Specify, because it's very visual. You can see it on your computer.
Specify.
Okay, so you have to go to beta.specify, spezify.com.
spezify.com, Specify.
And I don't know, there's not much out there about this, so I just basically wrote up what I could see on there. So this new search engine launched in beta this week. It's called Specify. The site's tagline is Inspired Search. So here's what it does. It presents results in a bold, sort of image-oriented, scrapbook, newspaper-looking way. So Specify says you can use it to get an overview of a subject, find useful information, or just be inspired. So let's see what this looks like.
Well, I did Apple. Okay.
That's it.
This is it.
That's it. And you have to move around sort of with your cursor and
I see. I'm flowing. I can go any direction. I'm scrolling down, and this is just all little chunks. So they put images of apples. They got some news stories here in boxes. I mean, you know what this is? I'll tell you what this is. This is a school project and at NYU's ITP program. They always do really interesting things of trying to visualize stuff. And so here I'm scrolling over and you see, I guess, iJustine there with her, or somebody with an Apple tattoo. Did iJustine really get an Apple tattoo? It's kind of interesting. So discovery search. And you have some people, I guess this is a tweet here. I can't click on this. Oh, there, I can click on it here. And this is iJustine. And
oh, it brings them up, okay.
Yeah, says Flickr. I wonder if she really got an Apple tattoo. There's no way she got an Apple tattoo. It's got to be fake. I'll find out about that later. I don't know. It's just, this is not practical, but it's not meant to be practical. It's meant to be fun. This is exactly what student projects do. They try to move the medium forward. It's not efficient is the problem, obviously. And search is about efficiency. So it's cute, fun. It's not a business, if that's what you're asking. Is it supposed to be a business? Did somebody just put money into it?
I don't know. There's nothing about it. I couldn't really find anything about it except that it launched.
Yeah. Well, this is one of the nice things about the web today. Building a site like this in Web 1.0 would have cost like $5 million because there's no APIs back then and servers are really expensive and databases and everything. And now building something like this takes somebody like a weekend and they can test it and see if it works. Kudos for trying.
It's neat looking. I mean, I don't know why you'd look at it.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think, Seth? You watching this?
Yeah, watching it.
Yeah, you're not impressed.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Well, we're underwhelmed. Give us one more story.
One more story. All right.
You got a lot of stories in you there.
You want Twitter, iMeme, or
you pick?
Okay,
you're the news guy. You pick.
Let's do Voodoo because I like the idea of Voodoo. Okay, and I've tried it out. It's a set-top box. They have teamed up with a set-top box maker to actually put its service onto TV screens without making people buy a separate video box. So they teamed up with this IPTV provider, Entone, to provide an embeddable version of its software for their set-top box. So basically, this IPTV, you buy this one box, and Voodoo's software will be on there. So the service will allow access to all of Voodoo's offerings, including 14,000 movies and TV shows. Now, don't know much about Entone, but their website says they've been a leading provider of IPTV solutions since 1999. So this is not cable TV. This is, your
Ethernet
entire
TV.
Yeah, Ethernet TV.
Now, do I pay for these 13,000? Oh, is there a subscription? How do I pay for the movies? Are they on demand?
It's just like the standard Voodoo service, except you don't have a separate box. So
I have now. I bought the Samsung Blu-ray DVD player with Netflix, so I have all my queue. There's a lot of stuff in the queue I can watch on that. Not 1080p, but some of them are HD. I think maybe they're 1080i or something. I'm not sure. But I guess you can rent these. Like, is it a monthly fee? How do I get?
There's no. It's just.
You buy the box.
You buy. Well, their original plan is that you buy the box. Their box used to be like $300. Now it's down to like $150.
Right.
So you buy the box, one-time fee, no monthly fee, and the movies stream instantly.
This is the future of it. I mean, the big trend here is television and movies over Ethernet, and the end of cable TV as we know it, direct TV. What will you not be able to get over the web is going to be the question. Mm-hmm. And this is becoming a very big issue for the cable companies. Like, why do I get my Time Warner cable again? Some people, if they only watch 4 or 5 shows, Daily Show, Simpsons, Lost, they watch a movie once in a while, they really don't need to spend that $40 a month. If you watch sports, maybe. So I think just like the same way the phones, didn't people, when the cell phone came out, there was a time when people said, you have to have a cell phone, you have to have a landline. And now there's a whole swath of people who are like, why would I have a landline? Because technology got so good.
Yeah.
I think that's the moment we're in now.
Well, also with the high-def transition, I hooked up an antenna to my TV just to see if I can get the channels. Mm-hmm. All the local channels, crystal clear, 100% on my television. So that really was, so you combine that with the TiVo, with the video on demand, with Apple TV, podcasts, what more do you need? YouTube. Right. I mean, it's really becoming that way. So Voodoo obviously trying to stay in the game here with, the cutting edge of the IPTV stuff.
Yeah.
See if it works.
Okay, so we're going to wrap up. I just want to give a couple shout outs to the people using TWiST. Everybody, now is the time where I ask you to rate the show. Please rate the show on a scale of 1 to 10 and put TWiST at the end.
Twitter's offline for schedule maintenance from 2 to 3.
Oh, Twitter's offline? We broke the Twitter? Well, how am I supposed to get feedback?
In the chat room?
Is it literally offline?
Yeah, they had scheduled maintenance from 2 to 3 today.
On a Friday. Really? Ev, Williams, Biz, Jack, 2 on a Friday? How about 2 on a Sunday? How about 2 a.m.? Oh my God, you're right. You cannot get on Twitter.
Yeah,
but you can go to search.twitter. I'm wondering why.
It doesn't even fail.
We had 155 people use #twist and then off.
Yeah, because it.
Well, what do we do now? If we don't have Twitter, what happens?
Chat room.
Everybody panic. No, I'm just talking about in life. What do we do in life without? This is a really serious issue. I think they're doing this to raise their valuation. Okay, so I'll look in the chat room right now.
They heard us talking about them.
Yeah, let's look in the chat room. Everybody in the chat room this week in startups should rate the show. I just got here, everybody. So I see Monkey 3, ad cause. Everybody tell me 8.8. Love the insights from Seth. Rhett Vig, Jason, your business model is broken. I'm sorry, which business model is that? The one that got us 5.5 million uniques last month? Hello. Million uniques, 2 Mahalo answers. Don't hate. Monkey 3 gives it a 9. Thank you. Show is 7.5. Alexander Andre, 8.10. 8.10. 7. 8.9. 9. Better than last week. 9, 10, tailed off towards the end. Yes, I know the news was, we're dragging a little bit in the news. It wasn't a big news week. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, good. Everybody liked the show. Wow, 10, 9, A-, 10. Enjoyed the cast. Sound was great. Loved it. Okay, so I guess we didn't have any. All right, so I want to thank my guests.
Cool. Thanks for having
Seth,
me. Appreciate it.
Co-founder, CEO of Meebo. Awesome. And everybody can sign up. How do you sign up your site for the Meebo? What do you call it on the bottom?
Meebo.com/communityim. So
Community
IM. Yep.
Community IM.
Or go to Meebo.com and there is an about page right
And
there.
I'm sure if people watching the show wanted to get in touch with you, it's just Seth@Meebo.com.
Seth@Meebo.com.
So if somebody has a pitch, somebody wants to work for Seth, he's actually a really nice guy. Great company to work for. Brilliant. If you're brilliant, hardworking, and a team player, and you're an engineer, and you're in the Valley,
yes,
they
please.
They pay 20% less than other people, but you get stock in something that's actually going to make a lot of money.
If you're a straight C or you're object-oriented JavaScript, we want to talk to you.
Seriously, competing with Google for talent, hard?
No. I think that at this point, Google is really not a startup. So folks who want to go to a startup, go to a startup. Folks who want to go to Google, go to Google.
Yeah, I see. So it's really
it's a different,
too big company.
Yeah, really too big company to be competing with startups for talent at this point.
Let's thank the sponsors. Ustream.tv. How did we do on the Ustream, Alex? Streaming-wise?
400 to 500, pretty much for most of the show.
Yeah, and how was the performance? Do we have any skipping or problems?
Nope. No
Flawless.
Yeah.
Flawless again, Ustream. Thank you. We love you. And DNA Mail, DNAmail.com. Everybody go get yourself some Exchange hosted or Google hosted apps. These guys are very cool. They're going to solve your problems. If you're a startup company and you're buying your own Exchange server and doing all this yourself, you're an idiot. Really, you're spending time on IT. Do you have like an IT department, or you just do everything in the cloud and give everybody Macs, right?
Oh, no, we have ops at Meebo. We have our own colo.
Well, that colo I understand, but I'm just saying for like, do you have like IT department, or do you use Macs?
Oh, well, no, people use what they want. We have Macs, we have IBMs, whatever folks at Meebo want.
And the Windows computers people, you have to go like...
No, it's fine. I mean, mostly technical folks
support themselves.
use it. Yeah, it's fine. We have one person who's part-time who helps folks out who need it.
It is amazing though when you think about it. You used to have 2 IT people for every 100 staff.
Yeah.
In the old days.
Not so much any longer.
No, like you have a half-time person for 50 people. It's like it's so much smaller than it used to be. Or if you have Macs and DNA Mail, you have no people. Thank you, Rich, with the news. Well done again.
Thank you.
And sorry, ladies, that Rich is a married man. Whoa, whoa. Did we lose signal?
That's just that one camera.
Oh.
Go to another camera.
There you go. Hey, we're back. Okay, to all the entrepreneurs out there, keep fighting the good fight. It's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it. But it's extremely rewarding. If you bust your ass, if you work hard every day, you could be like Seth and have 50 people working for you, raising 30, 40, $50 million for your company, 36 million uniques, and be loving every day. Entrepreneurship is really one of the best parts about living in this country, huh?
Really fun. It's really
pretty
fun.
awesome.
Best job ever.
It is the best job. It's a little stressful.
Oh, yes.
But
you have to learn to manage the stress.
What's the best part of being an entrepreneur?
Oh, I just like creating something that people use, right? Like hearing about people using the thing that you helped create. I think it's pretty awesome.
It's a pretty big rush
to
actually like be able to make something that people love.
Yeah, because I don't know what else I'd do.
Very good point. Yeah. So there you have it, folks. go be part of a startup. That's what's going to get the economy out of where it is. There's no amount of money Obama can spend, no amount of stimulus that'll help the problem. That's all a Band-Aid. What really helps the problem is when people create amazing global companies that delight users, that make money, that create efficiencies. That's how we're going to get ourselves out of this mess that we're in with the recession, creating great companies. It's up to the entrepreneurs to create those jobs. And as Seth said, what else are you going to do? Go work for some big company? Boring. We'll see you next time, Monday, 1 p.m., when our guest will be Lockhart Steele of Curb.com. We'll see you next time on TWiST.
Like we always do with this time, I go for mine, I get to shine. Now throw your hands up in the sky.